Hey everybody, and welcome to this high-level Rayse overview. Now, we're going to be going through the platform pretty quickly and what the feature set is and how you're going to be able to use it. So first, this is your agent dashboard. So a quick tour here is you can see here are my journeys. So we are actually on our journey screen. You're going to see I have those 4 tabs across the top. All of my active journeys, my inactive journeys, the ones that I've closed, already gone the full distance with, and then my templates. Now, we'll explain what that is in just a minute. But just above that is my profile and settings. So if I need to change anything about my brokerage branding, how I'm presenting myself to my clients, what is the branding and colors and logos that they're going to be seeing in both the client portal and in the presentations, I'll be able to do that here. You'll also see clients in here. So this is that phone book. So if I'm going to change somebody's name, their email address, their phone number, that's all going to be in here as well. Now, you may have heard of our Rayse interactive presentations. We have both buyer and seller presentations. So when you meet a client for the first time, we'll be able to explain to them not just what's going to happen throughout the entire process, the whole journey itself, but also what am I going to be doing for you? What is my value that they're going to be able to get throughout this entire experience? So we'll take a look a little bit closer at one of these in just a few minutes. Then above that, we have our activities. Now, we will be talking about the Rayse Assistant app here in just a moment. This is what it looks like here. So this is when you are going out into the world with your clients. You'll be able to use the Rayse Assistant app. It'll use the location services that are on your phone, and it will create these activities. So if I go out for a tour with my clients and I go and visit 5 or 10 different listings, you'll see them all show up here. Remember, this is connected to your MLS. So it'll show how long I was in the car, how many miles did I drive, how long was I at the actual location. So let's say I drove for 10 minutes and we were in the listing for about 5 minutes. They walked in, they looked around, they said, absolutely not. We walked out. That's still tracked here. And then all of those times when we were in the listing for a really long time, they could see their future. So this is a way for us to add all of those activities to the journey using that Rayse Assistant app, because we wanted to make this as simple as possible to get all of those activities into the journey. Okay, so that is how our activities work, and we'll come back to that in just a few minutes. Now, the first thing that we have to do before we use any of these features is create a journey. So you can create a journey on the bottom. You'll see create new journey. There's also a plus button on the left-hand side. There's a plus button on the right-hand side. We made it so you can create a journey from literally anywhere on this screen. So let's go ahead and create a new journey, and you'll see existing clients and new clients. Now, I have my existing clients. So anybody that is an existing client is somebody that I've already put into Rayse. So I have a journey in there. So you'll see I have a number of clients. Now, for most of us where this is our first time, you'll see new clients. That's where we're going to be entering these people in. So you'll see I only need 4 things: their first name, last name, email address, and phone number. Now, if I'm working with a client, I have at least these 4 things. So I'm actually going to use an existing client. We're going to say Rachel Green. So it's time to move out of the New York apartment. We're going to get a house. She's going to buy a house here. It's time. So now I only need a few other things in here. When is the journey start date? Now you'll see I can put today, but I'm not going to go into the future because I'm starting work now. I'm actually doing something for her right now. This is value that I'm providing. So at minimum, we're going to put today. Now I'm actually going to say, you know what? We had our first call last week. Let's go ahead and make that the second. Then we have our journey type, both buy and sell. Is she buying or is she selling? So she's going to be buying a house. Now, it's not uncommon for somebody to do both. In that case, you would create 2 journeys, a buy and a sell side, so that they can actually switch back and forth in the client portal. And then we have our templates in here. Now, when you first start, you'll see the Rayse default. Now, this everybody has. This is our starting point in here. So let's put in that Rayse default, and we're going to create our journey. Now, once we do that, you'll see that journey show up here. Now you'll see here is our buy side journey. For both the buy and the sell side journeys, the structure of the journey is the same. You're going to have steps, milestones, and outcomes. So you'll see that I have the 4 steps across the top. Now this being a buy side journey, there's consultation, tours and offers, contract, and closing. And then underneath that, you'll see our milestones. So you'll see home requirements, client commitment contract, financing options, even home search on the bottom there. And then under each one of those is that work that we're doing for our clients, that value-driven work that we're going to be doing. And those are our outcomes. So all we're asking you to do here is check these off. So as we're going through our journey, you're actually going to be checking these off. So that's it. That's all we really want you to do. And you'll even see on the bottom here, when I check off a few of these outcomes and this finishes, that milestone is now done. So you'll see that that's checked off and it's in here. Now on the right-hand side, you're going to see some of these eyeballs that are in here. Now, if I need to hide an outcome because it doesn't apply to this milestone, I can do that right here. We'll check that off. That's now hidden. It's not going to show up in the client portal. Now, if I need to hide an entire milestone, I can do that right here. You'll see that eyeball up on top. I can click on that and it'll remove the entire milestone. For example, if I have a buyer that's a cash buyer, I don't need these financing options in here. So I can hide the entire milestone and that'll get taken out of the client portal. Okay, so I've created my journey. Now, what's the first thing that I'll want to do is I want to send this off to my client. I want them to be able to follow along in that client portal. So you'll see I have the 4 buttons up on top here. So I have invite a client, I have share your journey. Next to that is a few other options, client portal and journey metrics. We'll go over all of these. These are all important. So we'll actually take a look at all of these before the end of this presentation. But we're going to go to invite a client. So I can click on that. And this is how I would invite my client. Now, when we create the journey, we don't automatically send your client anything. In fact, we wanted to be intentional about this. So when they get that invitation, that's when they'll be able to get the invite to the client portal. They'll get those weekly notifications that are in here. So we can invite the client, it'll send that invitation. Now, one common question that we often get about now is, well, how do I add more people in here? That's a great question. There's add another client right on the bottom. So I can say, Rachel, you know what? Monica wants to follow along. Let's put Monica Geller in here. And we can add as many friends as we want in here. So we can add in their email address, their phone number, the same 4 things that we needed to create that first client. Now, we can have as many people as we want in here, but what's great about this is a good way to expand your sphere of influence. So if I've got a married couple that are moving into a house and they want their kids that are away at college to follow along, they want their parents to follow along as well. I've got all 8 of these people that have now seen me work and are in my sphere of influence. So now, who are they going to contact the next time they need to talk to somebody about real estate? Well, it's probably going to be the person they just saw do all of these things. So it's a great way to expand our sphere of influence by adding people into the journey. And just next to that is share your journey. So not all of us work by ourselves. Some of us are a part of a team. Some of us have assistants or transaction coordinators or anybody else that we work with. So if there are people you want to share your journey with, you can do that right from here. So we'll select that button, share your journey on the top, and you can find their name right here on that drop-down menu. There it is. You can see Christian. He's my teammate. There he is. And I can add that user. Now, this journey is going to show up on his journey list, just like I see it on mine. So if I do have somebody that I work with, my teammate, and I'm out with my client, and I say, hey, can you actually check off a few of these outcomes? He can do that, and it'll show up in that client portal as well. One more thing about the journey before we move on is anytime I send something to my clients, I want to know what it looks like before they see it. So we've created a way for you to see not just into the client portal, but into this client's portal. So if you click on that journey, we're in Rachel Green's buy journey, you'll see up top it says client portal. So I can click on that, and this is going to show me the client portal as Rachel will be seeing it. So you can see, hey, here is a quick roundup. This is what it's going to look like when they first log in. So it'll even have her name here. It's Rachel. And for anybody that we invite, they're going to have their own name in there. So when Monica logs into her client portal, it'll say Monica up here, but it's day 80. That's how long we've been working with our client. You can see I don't have any of those homes toured in here. Here is the journey itself. How many activities do we have? How many outcomes? How many tours have we done? Offers. All of that's in here. And then those 4 steps. So I can see consultation, tours and offers, contract and closing. I can click into one of those and see all of those milestones. Here they are, all 4 of them. I can even see that home search setup. Remember, we completed that one. So I can click on it and see here are those outcomes that we completed. So those things that we did in order to complete this milestone. So this is a way for your clients to get that full transparency into this journey that you're on with them. Get all of the clarity that they need on what's happening. You're continuing to work with them every single day, even if we haven't talked to them. So they have a place where they can focus all of that energy and see what's happening inside of their journey. Now, just to show you this as well, up on the top, you have that contact card. So you can click on that. Here's your big headshot in there. There it is. Here's your contact info, a little bit about your bio, your social profiles, even some reviews that are in here. So if you wanted to share this out with folks, if your clients wanted to share this out with people, if all 8 of those people that we sent this journey to want to call you because they have a question about real estate, they have the avenue to do that right from here, right from that client portal. All right, so let's take a look really quickly at a sell side journey. So that was the buy side journey. You'll notice the structure looks similar in here. I have my 4 steps. So pre-listing, listing and marketing, contract and closing. And you can see I've got the same milestones and outcomes that are in that journey. So it works the same way, but the journey is different. Now on top, you'll notice there is outcomes and activities, the same as on the buy side, but I have 2 other tabs here. So I have offers and showings. So any offers that come in, you can log those, and any showings that you do, open houses, if the buyer agent's going to tour a house, anything that has to do with the showings, we can put that in here. And it's really simple. We just add a showing or add an offer, and that's going to show up in the client portal as well. Now, when you create a sell side journey, it's going to ask you, we're selling a house. Which one? What is it? So we can put in the address. Now you'll see that I've already synced this to the MLS, but when you first put this address in here, when we first start the journey with our clients, it won't be on the MLS, right? I have to put it there. So once you do that, there'll be a button right here. It'll say MLS sync. So you can click on that and it'll pull the rest of the information in, the photos, the bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, all that good stuff. It'll pull that in. So that is what is going to show into that client portal. All right, so that is the journey here. Now, really quickly, let's take a look at a journey that has a few more things in it. So this is Steve Perry. Now, we're on our journey with Steve, and you'll see that I've got past the consultation. We're in tours and offers now. So I can see I've got my homes in here. Now, there are 2 ways to get homes into the platform. There is, don't see a home on the list, add one here. I can click on that, and all you have to do is type in the address here. So if it's on the MLS, it'll pull in all the information. If it's not, we can enter that information in here. So that's all you have to do. The other way to get a listing into the platform is using that automation. So when you turn the Rayse Assistant app on and you go to a listing with your clients, when you get back, you're going to see it under activities, and I can assign that to a journey. So once I add this to a journey, this will show up under the activities, but the home will then be under tours and offers. So when we go back to Steve's journey here, you can see here is the home. We can click on it. Here's all of those outcomes, the home tour that we scheduled, attended, the offers that we drafted, all of that good stuff. So all that's going to be in here, and it's really simple to get these homes in. Again, with that automation, it makes it very, very simple in order to have all of these just show up inside of this journey. Now, let's take a look at the client portal, because this is what it's going to look like once you've got some homes in here. So you can see Steve, we've been working with him for a while. We've got a couple of homes in here. You can scroll through all of these. I can even click into those and see the images from the MLS, a little bit of information from that listing, and even those outcomes that we've completed that are in here. So all of those things are going to be inside of each of those listings that we've gone to go see with our clients. So there are 3 ways that we can see those listings. There are listings that we are evaluating, any listings that we have offers on. And if you scroll down, you can even see we have rejected homes in here, which this is really helpful. Most clients can't remember past the last 3. And if you've gone to see 10, 12, 30 different homes, that's a lot of work that we've done for our clients. I want them to remember all of those. So I can put those homes in, even if they've been rejected, they'll be here inside of the client portal so that they can see all of those listings, all of those outcomes that we had to do. Because remember, anytime we go and see a home, I still have to do 6, 7 things just to go and see it. So I want my client to know all of that value, all of that transparency they get to see inside of here. So all those rejected homes. Now you can see I've got 33 activities, 90 outcomes, 13 tours that we've done so far, and 4 offers that have been made. So this is a way that they get to continue to see that journey grow as we go through it together with them. And then of course our 4 steps, which you just saw. All right, let's get out of here. So the next thing, those are the journeys. So the buy side journey, the sell side journey, what it looks like when there's homes in there. But before we get to any of those things, we need to win the client. So how do we do that? So we're going to go over to presentations, And you'll see I have Rayse interactive presentations. There's both the buy and seller presentation. So again, this is Rachel. So I'm going to put in that buyer presentation, and then we're going to click on anybody's name in here. So this is where we get to build that presentation. Now you'll notice there isn't anything in here, but once you fill this out once, you won't have to do it again. It'll pull all of that information in for you. So we'll say this is a single family home. Purchase price is $1.2 million. Square footage is, let's say it's 2,500 square feet. Bedroom 4, bathroom 3. Half baths, let's say it's 1 half bath. Homes toured. Our CEO, Christian, just bought a house. He toured 30 houses. I think that's too many. How many offers did we make? Let's say 4. And total days is around 60. So, of course, our family size, how many people moved in, is 5. All right. Now, that's our last success story. So this is the last home that we sold. Because remember, I'm using this when I go and meet with my client for the first time. But I don't have any of this information for them yet. We haven't gone to tour houses. We haven't sold them a house yet, or any of those other things that are in here. So this is my last success story, the last version of this, last journey I went on, where I went the entire distance with my clients. So all of that's going to be in here. But that may not be what's average. For example, average homes toured is probably around 10. It's not 30. So we want to set some expectations here. How many contracts? Average, let's say it's 45 days in a contract and then 60 days to close. So all that's in here. And then our professional value. Remember, I want to make you look like a rock star. So how long have we been in the industry? How many deals have we closed? Let's say 120. Our number of certifications. Now, if you've got a real estate license, you've got at least one. So you can put as many certifications. Now, this is how many you have, not which certification. So I'm going to say that's 3. And then we also have the how I got paid feature. So I can enable my how I got paid feature. And I really like this because having that conversation about compensation can always be awkward. So let's say it's the commission rate, it's 3%. There's the referral fee. Let's say it's 15%, or if it's from Zillow or any of those other portals, it might be 30%. Brokerage split our brokerage split, let's say that's about 30, but that remains confidential. So they're actually not going to see that, but it still comes out of our compensation. And then our operational expenses, let's say that's 10 to 15%, and our income tax rate, 20 to 25. There it is. So that's how I get my presentation ready. And we're going to launch that presentation once we have all that information in there. Now, you'll see this is a big wheel in here, which depending on which client we have, how well we know them, you may want to go through one of these cards. You may need to go through all of them. But this is a way for us to show them the entire process, the entire experience. What is it going to look like when we go through this journey together? And also, not just why do you need an agent, but why do you need this agent? So my value explained. That's the first card. So let's go ahead and click into this. And you're going to see that there are 3 tiers. The first one is that big wheel that we just saw. This is number 2, my value explained. Finding the home is only 5% of the process. I'm going to help you navigate 100% of that. So I'm going to click on my face again, and it's going to go into the 3rd level here. So this is where we get to tell the story. What's going to happen as we go through this process? So what are the 3 things that you should never do without an expert? Jump out of an airplane, get brain surgery, or buy a home, right? Because buyer representation is so important, and you need that expert to help you out. So, Lauren, we don't know what we don't know. In fact, what that means is that for a lot of people that are first-time home buyers, or if they haven't been in the industry in 10, 12 years, they don't really have a reference point for what questions to ask or what's going to happen. So here are a lot of the common questions that we do get for our clients. Who's doing the inspection? How old is that roof? Here's my favorite. Is that even legal? Or any of those things. Do you know the difference between good marble and fake marble? Do you know what a cracked foundation looks like? All of those are questions that our clients are going to have. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm going to be doing for you. I'm going to simplify the process. We're going to give you market insights. I work transparently. You're going to get full transparency as we go through this process together. And then here's that last success story that we talked about, the last person, because we want to make sure that we set those expectations. So we put in $12 million. There it is. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,500 square feet. We toured 30 houses. We made 4 offers. It took 60 days. There were 5 full hearts and 1 shared dream in here. That's that family. Okay, so this is the last success story where we're starting to set those expectations. This is what happened with the last person that I worked with. It might be what happens with you as well. But this is where we're setting those expectations. Now, This is one of our favorite prompts, which is the craziest thing I have ever experienced in a transaction. We have heard the wildest stories that have happened with agents on these transactions. Things like the chimneys are catching on fire. There's endangered species in the attic. All of these different things. But the point of this prompt is to tell our clients there's going to be things that come up. That's just the case. It happens in every transaction. But when those things happen, we're going to take care of them together. Whatever it is, I'm going to be here for you. Whether it be those late night phone calls or extra negotiations, or if the funding falls through, all of that, they're things that happen and it's okay. We are going to get through those together. Now, for a lot of people, that's it. That's all they have to hear. So we click Get Started and we can send that invitation right here from this presentation. For some people, they need to see a little bit more, so they can click that Next button. And this will take you to that second card from that first level. So there are 465 areas of expertise to get an offer accepted. Now that number comes from the journey itself. So us actually seeing all those milestones and outcomes. Now there's a lot of things that happen during that journey, and here are a lot of them, and this can be overwhelming. That's the point. If you tried to do this yourself, this is what it would look like. But here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a really easy to follow place so that your path home becomes really clear. Now, in step 1, here we go. There's home requirements, client commitment contract. Here are all of those different things that we do in step 1. There are 4 milestones and 15 outcomes. And I can even click on these and flip these cards over and see all of those things that are going to happen. So the home requirements, the buyer presentation, the Rayse introductory packet, the home and neighborhood requirements, that's what we're doing in this meeting, that first meeting with our clients. Then we talk about the client commitment contract. Them's the rules now. That's what we have to do. We're going to talk about financing because that's important. And then we can set up the home search once we get all of that. Now, on to step 2, which is tours and offers. There's only 2 milestones. Why? Because for every single home that we go and see, we have to do like 6 or 7 things. We have to schedule the home tour, attend the home tour, get the client feedback, gather the data on the home. So when we go and see 10 or 12 different listings, I still have to do all of these things for each one of those listings. Our clients should know all of that value that you're providing. So here it is. They get to see all of those things in here, and we do all of those to get to that offer submission. Now, once we submit an offer, is it immediately accepted? Well, we hope, but it doesn't always work that way. So we can see whether we're going to discuss the offer with the listing agent. There's counters, there's addendums, all that good stuff to get that offer accepted. So this is where we're explaining the process to our clients. All right. So there's a little bit more in here about the presentation, what to expect. How do I explain Rayse? There are a couple different cards in here that are going to help you explain to your clients what this is, how it's going to be helping you, even talk about compensation. So go ahead and take a look at all of those different cards. We're going to go back over to our agent portal in here. So that was our presentations. Now, the next thing that we would normally do is talk to you about how we can set our branding up. So if I go to profile and settings, you're going to see I have a few tabs up top. There's personal settings, there's public info, and there's brokerage info. So all of this is how I can set up the branding that's going to show in that client presentation that we just saw, or the client portal. So in that client portal that we saw early on that had your branding, that had your headshot, all of that good stuff, this is where it comes from. So the first one, personal info, how do you want people to contact you? If you do have your home and work address, we do ask that you put that in here because the Rayse Assistant app does show how many miles we drove, how long we were in the car, and it helps our algorithm to know where our starting point is. The thing is that we're not going to be showing this. This does not go to your clients. This is only for us. All right, next is your public info. So this is your big headshot, your bio that's in here, your license number, social media profiles, even those client testimonials. They come from here. And then our brokerage info. So when we have our colors in here, your brokerage colors, your brokerage logo, even your brokerage name, the brokerage approved website, your tagline, all of that branding that we have, that's where this is going to live. So once we enter that in here, it's going to show up in both the presentations and in the client portal as well. All right, so let's go back to the journey. And we're almost done. We're at the end here where, let's say we're on Rachel's journey here, and we're going to close this journey. We're ready to close. We've done all of our steps, all of our milestones. You can see we've checked off all of our outcomes in here, and we're ready to close this journey. So we're going to click close. It'll ask, are you sure? And this is what it'll give you is this closing report. So you're going to see here is the listing photo, your brokerage logo, your agent headshot that's in here. So some of that branding. Now, what you'll see is not on here is any client information. which I'll explain why that's important in just a second. But this is where we get to tell the story. How did we get into that new home? So here's our summary page. Let's say it was 27 days that took us there, or 60 days. Let's say it was 30 homes that we toured, 4 offers that we wrote. There was $6,500 in credits that we negotiated, completed 196 outcomes. However many that is, that's all in here. And we get to continue to tell that story from our first meeting to the offer accepted. So getting into contract, how long did that take? It was 19 days, 55 outcomes. Here is that story. And then to go from contract into closing, here it is. This is what it took to get into your new home. Now, one of the great parts about this is that it has all of those different things that we've done for our clients. As we check off those outcomes, it's building this closing report. So here is that step. Here are those milestones. But what did we actually do? So we reviewed the buyer presentation. We talked about Rayse. We got the home and neighborhood requirements. That's in here. We did the client commitment contract. It even has all of those homes that we went to go see, some that we considered, some that we rejected, all the way down to the home that was accepted, the offer that was accepted. And then here in contract, all those things that happen behind the curtain that our clients don't ever get to see, here's where they get to see those things. So here's the disclosures, the inspections, all that good stuff. So this is a 26-page report. There are 4 listings. Imagine if you had those 10, 12, 30 listings that we went to go see inside this closing report. Now, the great part about this is, like I said, there's no client information in here. So at the closing table, once we're all done and I have this closing report, I get to show my clients, hey, this is the journey that we went on together, right? This is our wedding album. This is the entire story as we went through it together. So all of that gets to be in here. Here, take a look. Here's our story. So the next time somebody asks them about real estate, they go, hold on. Let me go and get this. This is everything that my client did for me, or my agent. This is everything that we went through together, even the chimneys that were on fire and the bats that were in the attic. All of that stuff gets to be in this closing report. Now, what we have some agents doing is they're taking this closing report to their next presentation, so buyer or seller presentation, and saying, do you want to know everything that you can expect? Let me show you the Rayse interactive presentation. This is what you can expect, but here's everything I did for the last person, and you can hand them this closing report. So here's everything that we went through together. This is what you can expect when you work with me. So it's such a good thing to take to that closing table, but also a great way to win new business. All right, so that is our high-level overview of Rayse. If you need any help, there is that contact support button that's on the bottom. We do have actual people that are in here, so if you ask us a question, we will be able to chat with us. If you need anything else, let us know. Otherwise, thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.